Hi everyone, Amy here with Amy's Wares, and today I have a TEA-RIFFIC pun card to share with you. So let's jump right in. I have a couple of brand spanking new stencils. These are part of the April release at a Colorful Life Designs, and I do have a coupon AmyFan10. So if you shop for any stencils, use that code at checkout and save on your complete order. Now this teapot stencil is going to be the focal point on my card today, but I am also going to use this really cool 6x9 stencil that has a bunch of tea puns all down it. So I'm going to show you in a moment here a photo of the finished card to show you the direction that we're going. In typical fashion, I was winging it, didn't really have an exact plan in mind, but I just jumped right in and I'm pleased with how it turned out. So to start creating the background, I'm working directly on a card base. This is US A2 size, so 4 1/4 inches by 5 1/2. And I am kind of kicking this off to the left side of the card base, and I masked off that right hand side. Now I'm just using some residual ink from my black blending brush because I just want this to be kind of a subtle gray as I ink blend these punny words down the left side of the card base. So here I'm getting, I don't know, probably 2/3 of this 6x9 stencil of the words, and then I'm just going to remove it, make sure I got good ink blending, and then I'm going to move it upward and then nestle these other 3 that I hadn't used in between the others. Now these are spaced out perfectly, so I can just kind of eyeball it and line it up. I'm going to do the same thing, kind of mask off the bottom and the right edge, and then come in again with that same residual gray ink just to kind of fill in these openings. Now I did debate on stopping here and leaving the bottom part blank because I knew I was going to put the teapot, but then I thought for continuity I needed to just kind of fill in those other openings. So I'm just going back to the top of the stencil, again nestling it in, and then that will create the full strip down the left side of the card with these funny puns. So it says things like creativity, tranquility, loyalty, all obviously with the word tea spelled out at the end just to kind of make it punny and fun. So you may have noticed if you've watched any of my other videos from this release, there's lots of coffee themed items, but these are for the fellow tea lovers in the crafty world. And here I'm just using the teapot in a couple colors of kind of bright Catherine Pooler inks. I have Uptown, and I don't remember what that green is, but these are from the Luxe Party Collection from Catherine Pooler. And I'm just starting with the green in the center of the teapot because I'm kind of thinking of it more like a highlight, like lighter in color. And at this point I realize I'm going to flip it over and start over and put some pixie spray on the back of this, just because those little strips could get a little unruly as, you know, I'm ink blending like a lumberjack and making a mess of things. So you don't probably need pixie spray on this one, but it does definitely help, especially in the center portions where those little slats of the teapot are kind of creating lines. You want them to be nice, crisp, defined lines. So again, I did the green in the center because it's more like a highlight on the roundest part of the teapot, and then I'm just kind of toning it down a little bit with some residual ink on top. Now I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do here. I know I want to fussy cut it out, but then I'm thinking, oh, that ink blending and the handle part, I'm going to need to kind of cut that center part out. So here you're going to see how absolutely rubbish I am with an X-Acto knife. So I watched Christina Werner magically cut things out with no issue at all, and she just blows my mind. So I'm really struggling here. I swear I'm like not even making a dent in this cardstock. Now granted, I am using 120-pound accent opaque, so I'm sure that's not helping matters because it is super thick. However, I am always this bad with an X-Acto knife, like complete garbage. I never get nice clean lines. Doesn't matter how sharp my X-Acto is, I'm just struggle bus. I'm just no good at it. So here I'm just kind of whatever, trying to clean up the edges a little bit, and then I think ultimately, yeah, I ended up coming in just kind of brushing some color along the edge just to kind of mask how horribly I did that. But whatever, it worked in the end. And here I'm just going to use my fussy cutting scissors just to kind of fussy cut the rest of this shape out. And it was not hard to do at all. So I'm just using leaving a little bit of a border around where I'm fussy cutting, but The key here, if you hate fussy cutting and it tires your hand, is to turn the paper, not the scissors. So that really does help with the fatigue and does allow you to get a bit of a cleaner cut. So I don't mind fussy cutting. In fact, I kind of like it. I know, boo hiss, I'm weird. But I hate X-Acto cutting. So yeah, there's that. And I'm just going to come in and do the same thing, just kind of use my blending brush just to kind of tone down the white core so it doesn't really stand out. Now here I'm figuring out where I want to lay this out. Now if I would have thought this through better, I might have actually ink blended and flipped over the teapot stencil so that the spout part would have been off to the right. So next time if I were to recreate this card, I think I would stencil it backwards, but then I would have pixie spray on the front of the stencil, not the back. So bear that in mind, depending on how you want to do it. It ended up okay, but I just feel like having the spout part off to the right of the card would have maybe looked a little bit better rather than completely covering up those words that I ink blended. But overall, it ended up okay in the end. So here I'm just figuring out, again, placement and what I want to do. And I did ink blend some color off to the right side of the card just to add a little bit more interest and color to the card. And then here I'm just going to use my favorite foam tape to pop up the teapot on the front of the card base. This is 1-inch foam tape from scrapbook.com, and this is my favorite. It's super sticky. And I see here I'm debating, like, see, I should have done it that way, but whatever. It all worked out in the end. So I'm just going to cut off some pieces of foam tape here just to pop it up and give it a little bit of dimension on this otherwise pretty simple card. And it came together pretty easily once I figured out the direction I was going to go. So I was fiddling a little bit, but it all ended up okay in the end. So here I'm just cutting off little parts that are going to overhang and then just kind of reconfiguring them into open spaces. And then for the handle, I'm just going to use this little thin foam strip. I use these for my sentiment strips all the time. I get them from Amazon. It's a huge pack, really reasonable price point. I think you get like 10 sheets or something. It's like 500 of them for $9.99 or something crazy. So I'll link those in the video description box below with the rest of the products that I used. But this release is so fun, guys. Like I said, there's tons of coffee, tea. There's also a bunch of really cool geometric ones that are great for year-round. And there is a new stamp, and it is so cool and punny and snarky and coffee related. So be sure to check out the rest of the release. I will link that in the video description box below. And as always, there is a Master Creator Bundle as well. If you want the full release, you can get that whole shebang for 20% off. So be sure to check that out. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please hit the thumbs up. And I will catch you next time. Have a good day. Bye.